Okay, we do have a forum at 4. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 4:00, make it 4:05. And Izzy, would you call the roll, please?
Deborah Carter,
Here.
Kim Sala,
Here.
James Cotter,
Here.
Ed James,
Here.
Marisha Rollins, who told me she's running 10 minutes late. Ben Samuels, Jordan Sanders,
Here.
James Neely, Patrick McKelvey,
James is here. I don't think Patrick.
Correct.
Okay.
James Neely, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all the others in attendance, will you identify yourself and your affiliations, please? St. Louis County Exec Office. St. Louis County Council. Department of Transportation, Public Works.
Steve Adams on.
Okay.
I see Adam.
Adam, can you hear us?
I'm just listening. I'm not participating.
Okay. St. Louis County Police Department.
Brandon Kelly.
St. Louis County Counselor.
Jen Frank.
Okay. Bi-State Development Agency.
Hello, everybody. This is Toby Roach, President and CEO of Bi-State.
Tammy Paris, CFO at Bi-State.
Ron Forrest, Chief Operating Officer, Metro Transit.
Tom Curran, and I am Executive Vice President of Administration for Bi-State.
Thank you.
Hi, Kevin Scott, Executive Vice President for Security and Public Affairs.
Melissa Webb, Director of Public Affairs.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to have the approval of the minutes from the July 14th, 2025 meeting and the September 8th, 2025 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Was that Deborah?
Kim.
Oh, Kim, okay. Okay. The minutes have been approved. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Report, St. Louis County Office Departments. Anyone from St. Louis County like to report? Okay. The Department of Transportation, Public Works. Okay. Carry that over to next meeting. Okay, St. Louis County Police Department.
You've had a chance to review the numbers, number of incidents we've had year to date. Our numbers look great. They're trending downward in the number of instances we're responding to, which is the way we want to go. Outside of the reports that I sent out earlier, I have nothing else to report.
Any questions of the St. Louis County Police Department?
So just one quick question. The firearms is an increase of just one actual incident. It says it's up 100%. And I just want to, 100% is a huge number, but is it 2 incidents or what are we looking at?
So percentage change, I've got, we're at 113 year to date. Percentage change is up 39, almost 40%, which is proactive police work, obviously. Removing any weapon of any sort from the line is our goal. So I always look at these as positive light.
Okay. And are we still using, Kevin, maybe this is a question for you. Is the pilot still underway?
So the metal detector pilot, just to clarify,
Yes, thank
the metal detector pilot is underway. However, the seizures that are articulated on this report are proactive seizures in context by law enforcement.
thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for the police department? Okay,
Can I ask a question?
sure you can.
I just wonder, when you say it's proactive, does that mean that they are intercepted or interdicted before they get through the metal detector? I just want to understand exactly what you mean by that.
Yeah, so I want to clarify that there are not metal detectors at each location. We do not have the capacity, the operational capacity to do that at this point. So the metal detector program is a roving program where we don't define a schedule, but we rove portable metal detectors from location to location. When I talk about proactive policing, such as the seizure of these weapons, these are contacts by law enforcement before we realize a crime that has occurred with the firearm. So perhaps an individual is arrested in another matter and a firearm is discovered. There's many different scenarios to how they would come across these firearms on the system, but these are the proactive policing dynamic is in a situation where we're not realizing a victim or a call for service. They're proactively engaging.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Hearing none, by state development, Metro.
Thank you, Chairman. My name again is Talby Roach. I'm going to try to stick to the agenda that you have in front of us, and by doing that, I will delegate a couple of these reports to my colleagues. Right off the bat, I'm going to delegate to my left, your right, I guess, to Ron Forst on workforce updates, ridership trends, and call a ride. Ron, could you give us that update?
All right, first slide. So starting with Metrobus. Now, we've consistently been approximately 20 to 25 operators below our budgeted number. So we've recently shifted our recruitment strategy. We work with our HR talent acquisition team and the public affairs team to develop a more robust recruiting and hiring campaign. That includes creating recruitment videos. They're already being shared on our social media sites. We're advertising our hiring events on local news channels as they approach. We're creating recruitment advertisement posters to be placed on our buses and trains. We're creating large recruitment banners to be hung at our facilities. And we are encouraging all of our employers and stakeholders to drive candidates our way. We're also increasing our hiring events from 1 to 2 per month. We have a class of 16 Metrobus operators starting next week, so that's some relief. Metrolink operations is doing much better as always. We're approximately 11 operators under our budget amount, but we have 6 operators in class and they're due to graduate in a few weeks. We're at 185 call-a-ride operators now. That's 5 over budget. But the demand for service has increased back to pre-pandemic levels when we were budgeted for approximately 200 operators. So that's the magic number for us right now. And we'll talk more about call-a-ride later in the presentation, but our shift in recruitment strategy also focuses on hiring more call-a-ride operators targeted to a part-time workforce. Next slide. Thank you. Okay, on the maintenance side, we continue to struggle to get mechanics. However, recently we worked with the union to finalize an agreement that will allow us to recruit candidates straight from technical schools who, due to their age, would be limited to interstate commercial licenses. We're also finalizing the curriculum for our own in-house mechanic apprenticeship program. And we're hoping that as soon as the shutdown is over, we'll be able to get our program approved by the Department of Labor. We're also evaluating the effectiveness of our training programs to ensure we are graduating students at a higher proficiency level. That means more direct involvement with the maintenance teams in evaluating the curriculum and approving the curriculum. Slide 3. All right, organizing for success. That's an initiative that we are taking to ensure more agile, integrated, cost-effective, and performance-focused operations model. We're aligning decision-making more closely to the workforce and ensuring our frontline workers have the direct support needed to excel. So you're going to hear about and you're going to see some changes, right? Some of those changes will include consolidating positions into one cohesive group, eliminating positions to streamline oversight and to reduce multiple layers of decision-making within the management structure. Next slide, please. All right, ridership is up 7% system-wide, but as you can see, caller ride year-to-date, which includes the months of July and August, is up 35% compared to this time last year, which is a good segue into our next discussion. All right, next slide. All right, here's the chart. As you can see, our monthly caller ride trips taken have more than doubled from approximately 20,000 to over 40,000 per month. Our daily trips have gone from approximately 1,300 to as many as 1,900 per day, and that's just within the last year. At the same time, as demand is increasing, trip denials have remained at zero. So the team is doing a great job keeping those trip denials at zero. However, the huge demand has caused our trip on-time performance to decrease from approximately 92% to 86 to 88%. This is mostly due to lack of operators. All right, next slide, please. So what has Caller Ride team been doing to mitigate the impact of rising demand? They've been outsourcing Caller Ride trips to VIA, our microtransit service, and to Lyft, our concierge service. Outsourcing is not the desired solution, so we are looking at service strategy improvements. Currently, I have a team evaluating the effectiveness of assigning caller ride operators to a 10-mile service zone. Much of the problem with the on-time performance is that passengers are requesting trips that are in excess of 16 miles in one direction. So as a result, on many occasions, operators are traveling from one end of the county to the other. We're also increasing our hiring of part-time operators. The plan is to have more flexible workforce that allows us to scale up service to more readily meet those daily spikes in demand. In the new service model, those passengers traveling from one zone to the next would have to transfer to a vehicle in the next zone. Now, this is only conceptual at this point and will require significant evaluation and stakeholder feedback. We're also receiving our new caller ride vehicles and currently have 9 of 43 on site. We've identified that during spikes in demand, vehicle availability also spikes from about 100 vehicles to approximately 120, 123 daily. Therefore, we're evaluating the need for an overflow fleet. Next slide, please. All right. We're meeting monthly with our Metro Transit Accessibility Advisory Committee. Those conversations have been very productive towards improving accessibility and also allows us to get really good feedback from the ADA community about their lived experiences as they navigate the new secure platforms and the new fare collection system. We've also had some rides, some of them ride with us on routes and have given really useful feedback on vehicle and elevator design, which we plan to consider in future designs. All right, that's it for that. All right, next slide, please. All right, Ride Every Route campaign. That's been extremely successful. We've written approximately 30 bus routes and the Metro Link. I still plan to ride Colorado. I haven't done that yet, but this initiative has given us firsthand knowledge of our service and our operators' work environments. We have seen and experienced firsthand many of the challenges that our passengers experience and many of the safety concerns our we've collected well over 100 pieces of feedback between from our Ride Our Every Route campaign and our employee town halls, which we do quarterly. We've grouped that feedback into themes and have assigned small work groups to develop action items and implementation strategies to address the issues and concerns expressed. We plan to have work done in the next few months, and we plan to be able to report back during our next quarterly town halls, which start in January, to our frontline workforce. And we also plan to, for our passengers to experience those improvements. Now, the overwhelming feedback that we receive is that passengers want much more frequent service and fewer missed trips. Operators want stronger personal security measures, and both passengers and operators want more amenities at our stops and transit centers, such as bus benches, shelters, trash cans, and access to restroom rooms and break rooms for operators. All right, slide 9, almost there. Service change. In our most recent service change, we incorporated a lot of feedback from riders and operators. This resulted in adjustments to 14 bus routes, 9 of which operate in St. Louis County. Those adjustments include increasing schedule adherence by making sure changed operating and road conditions were factored into scheduled run times. We've improved bus connections by adding more buffer time in those scheduled connections. Our next service change is December 1st. We're expecting over 30 routes will experience service adjustments to increase proficiency and provide a better ride experience. Many of these changes are based on us engaging in more robust and productive feedback sessions with operators. All right, last slide. There we go. All right, last slide, hiring events. We are continuing to engage in hiring events. In fact, as said earlier, those have increased. We have 2 more this month and 1 scheduled for next month. We also have 2 community events coming up. We have the Commute Like a Champ, where we will be promoting using transit to travel to St. Louis Blues games. We will also be celebrating a new mixed-use development at North Hamley Transit Center. That consists of 60 new mixed-income residential units and some commercial space for a new employment satellite office. All right, and that is it for my updates, and I'll take questions.
Any questions on this presentation?
This is Patrick McKelvey. I had a really quick question. You mentioned a Department of Labor shutdown impacting you. Is the federal government shutdown impacting you in any other way?
No, we just, we have an apprenticeship program that has to be approved by the Department of Labor, and we can't get that approved until they come back to work.
Thank you.
In your presentation you had on Call a Ride, your budget is 185 and you got 5 over.
It's 180.
180. Okay, that's right. 180, 5 over. Why are we doing outsourcing if we got that many drivers that's over budget?
Well, because we need, in order for us to meet demand with our operators, we need 200 operators, at least 200 operators.
Essentially, Mr. James, and this is not unusual in paratransit. Paratransit would be considered the highest level, also the most expensive service. And very much like a lot of transit agencies across the country, you have to be careful about paratransit is that it can become lopsided. One of the pieces that we need to concentrate on is trying to make the rest of the system as accessible to the disabled community as possible. Otherwise, we will see the growth that from a budgetary standpoint is not sustainable, right? We're actually kind of bumping up on that right now and trying to find some other pieces. So it's really key that we work very closely with our partners in the paratransit community to see how we can move more customers onto the regular system and also contemplate, if we might need some enhanced funding associated with this kind of load. A 35% increase notes that not only are at zero denials, want to add, means that essentially we're doing such good service, we're running ourselves out of business. Okay. And remember, our deliverable is service. So we don't make more money when we do service. As a matter of fact, we're more expensive to our partners like the county when that happens. So it's very hard and difficult decisions to try to be sure to cap that kind of exponential growth. But we do need to consider it. We need to be sure that we're partnering very strongly with, for instance, the committee that we talked about, and gain every single efficiency that we can. One thing that Ron hinted at, which is one of our biggest challenges with St. Louis County, is that it is so big, right? So just the vastness of the county alone means that in a call ride environment, which is much more similar to, say, a cab ride or something, if you have a cab or a call ride vehicle that is going 16 miles in one direction within the county, it is inherently inefficient, and it's very difficult for us to run that service. Those are just kind of conditions that we need to be careful to manage. I think we are managing them very well, and it shows on these charts. But it is important to warn you that we have some concerns from a budgetary standpoint here. And we're just getting a little nervous. Is that a fair statement, Tammy?
Yes, fair statement.
All right. So that's where we are. I'm sorry, did I answer another question, Mr. James?
No, just one. At the next meeting, could you just basically carry us through maybe what's a typical call ride? I mean, is it just one passenger per ride? What's the capacity of the van? And you put a 10-mile limit. What happens if it goes to 15 or 16? Just a typical ride, if you could do that.
Sure. I'll ask Ron to do that. Our new director of Call Ride, Lewis Lowry, is very highly informed about what are those different idiosyncrasies. Another thing is that maybe if everybody went to go see the camera center, which a lot of folks have seen down on Compton Avenue, right across on the other side is Call Ride. Now, if you want to go into a beehive of activity, you walk into Call Ride because it is happening. They are putting out service in a tremendous way. So I'd love to invite all of you to see how that is. Yes, as you know, we did a phone upgrade. We have a new service plan. Most of those are working well, not perfectly. Sometimes we're not sure if this is the best service plan for us, because we have dealt with some customers saying that they have been on the bus too long, which is a very legitimate complaint. So we are tuning some of these new pieces, and I would invite all of us to maybe take a look at the site. And I was in there the other day. We had to have 10 phone operators at the time, and all of them were talking at the same time. So there's a lot of activity, but we have to be careful about, are we going to exceed our capacity, which would then cause some of the problems that we've had earlier.
Yeah, under your organizing, you said streamlining some positions.
Yes.
How is that going to affect labor's layoffs or downsizing in the future, or will it?
It's not affecting our represented workforce.
Okay.
This is the management team that's being streamlined.
Okay.
One tasking that, so you might ask, why do I have this guy to the left? Well, he's got decades of experience in buses and trains. And what we are trying to do is to be sure that we're as efficient as possible. As I've reflected in this, here and over the chambers many, many times. Our goal is to be at a growth rate of roughly 1.5% annually. In order to do that, we have to constantly look at what our efficiencies are. The most relevant efficiencies year over year is in employment. So Ron has done a full analysis of Metro Transit and thinks that there's some efficiencies that we can gain there. And the goal with that is that when we come in and ask this committee for budget appropriation, that we're able to adhere to that 1.5, 1.6 number. It's tough, but we do think we can do it. We've done it for 7 fiscal years in a row. We're proud of that record, and we're going to try to continue it and continue the associated service.
Thank you. Any other questions for the bi-state reports?
Well, I did notice some questions that I can field right now. I know Commissioner Raisa Rollins' request about the naloxone. I want to be sure that I'm saying that right. So I can talk briefly on that if that's okay. Sure. So most of our security teams carry naloxone right now. They get a little minimal training there. Actually, we have it available in my office. I've been trained on it too. We have tried to train as many of our employees as possible so that it is out there in that situation. It has been successful in saving really dozens of lives. Is that a fair statement, Mr. Scott?
Yes, that's correct.
So we see it as a way for us to access the community, and we've kind of worked, especially in conjunction with our partnership with Chestnut Health Services, to access some of those pieces. And right now it seems like it's working quite well. But if there are any suggestions on how we can increase that, it's a great tool for us to use in trying to help our community.
Did that address?
I was curious about the intersection of departments, right? So how the DOH is a part of the efforts to ensure safety?
Department of Homeland
Health, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Never use acronyms. We know they're all
Sorry.
different. Every room we go in, and my world is Department of Health. Our public health department and how they're, yeah.
Mr. Roach, would you mind if I step in?
I love it. Help me out here.
Great, yeah. So Commissioner Rollins, all of our naloxone, for those of you that aren't familiar, that it's Narcan. It is a great life-saving tool. We have engaged the use of naloxone many times, both on the security level and the law enforcement level. So all of that is regulated through public safety. So on the security side, that is me. And on the safety side, our chief safety officer for the entire system is Andrew Giassi. And I am certainly not familiar with the proposal to deploy vending machines on our properties. I would have to take a deeper dive into that. Mr. Giassi is also not familiar with that, nor have we at this juncture had any discussions with the Department of Health. Our naloxone deployment is done through all of our security personnel in conjunction with Chestnut Behavioral Health, which are our team of clinicians on the system, both in Missouri and in Illinois. And we are under an agreement with the University of Missouri St. Louis to obtain the naloxone. So I'm going to have to take a deeper dive into any potential relationship with the Department of Health, who might have had contact with them or communication with them. But I certainly will do that and get back with you on that.
Beautiful. And I can share with you that how this question came up, and I was like, this is fantastic, was through Dr. Kanika Cunningham. So if it's not her directly, then she can let you know who on her team has been looking into how they can continue to support those efforts.
Very good. I will take a deeper dive into this and have a better understanding of what those communications have been. The positioning of any vending machines on our property, certainly we would have to vet that that would have to be approved by, both safety and security. But we do have ample supply of naloxone on the system. But I will take like I said, I will take a deeper dive into the actual vending machine approach to see what that entails.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. All right, good. Discussing the budget costs.
Okay, so the question, just to reiterate, is regarding bi-state budgeted costs if the amount of the funding request that was passed through legislation is more than the revenue available from the 3 county tax revenue streams. And just to remind everyone, there is a 1/2 cent 1973 tax that is for transportation. I don't have that right in front of me. There's a 1/4 cent Prop M, and then there's a 1/2 cent Prop A. Those are the 3 taxing revenues that we use collectively to pass our budget. Right now, as in the FY25, not only this committee and the county council and legislation passed an appropriation for us of $197,146,050. The actual receipts, however, are $112,661. So sadly, we have a $7 million shortfall in the appropriation shortfall that we need to deal with. And so that moves us. It is unusual when this happens. Normally, we are very conservative about those numbers. We usually schedule maybe a 1% growth rate. But sales tax across the board is extremely low. I'm very concerned about it. It's low in the city, it's low in St. Louis County, it's low in the state, it's low in the state of Illinois as well. So we have a problem to deal with. Normally, we do schedule this very conservatively, and if there is an overage, we just sweep that amount into our capital accounts, right? And that serves as a capital match for buses, trains, call ride vehicles, et cetera. And that is leveraged against federal grants. And that's how we take care of that. However, obviously we're short on this, so we have a problem to solve. And so moving into the next discussion question, we're asked, it's question number 6 there, discussion of bi-state's plan presented to the county council at the council's regular meeting held on 9/16. We really weren't able to give our full presentation to the council. We were cut short. It was a very active agenda night. And so I think we got through 3 slides. I'm sorry about that, Ron. Ron was all excited about it. But nonetheless, we have put a presentation that we can also give to this committee. The council has asked for a committee of the whole for them to see that presentation to consider it. Let me just summarize what it is. It would take care of really 4 elements that we are concerned about. 1, the shortfall for FY25, which again is this $7 million. 2, the council has requested some additional bus service throughout the county, that mostly in frequency and so on, especially since collectively, either the council, we have made no decision on, for instance, a expansion of BRT or Metrolink at that time. There hasn't been a project that has risen to a point where we think it is a viable application to make to the federal government. That's just not yet, is what I'm saying. So in the meantime, the council has asked us to put a plan together that involved additional service. Mostly that's in density of service, where, for instance, maybe you had a 30-minute route and I'm going to move it to 15. But because of where we are on sales tax, I asked Ron to make that schedule over a 30-month period of time. And the reason has to do with where our read is on sales tax. We can't turn around and charge the county when the county can't afford it. County can't afford it if the sales tax continues to be flat. It is my read that what we need to do is try to not hit that budget as much as possible. Leave it alone so it has an opportunity to grow. And then the county, after 30 months of enhancement, can make their decision of whether to enter it into the regular operating budget. Okay? The third element of the proposal includes some bus stop enhancement funds, where we would put some money aside for the bus stops. We've had great partnerships in doing that. That would be a really kind of a sinking fund where, for instance, if some sidewalks needed to be done, if we had some money for shelters. And I've also asked Ron's team to look at, say, the top 10 bus stops in St. Louis County that we could maybe target for those kind of enhancements. That would also be part of our proposal. But one thing that was not included or not talked about, at least on the 16th, that I do intend to talk about at the committee of the whole meeting, is I am concerned about Colorad's operating needs, mostly from a financial standpoint. You've seen data showing data success in Colorado, but I am concerned about the long-term budget hits. So I'm holding that as an element and something that I'm concerned about. It is true that the council asked us to look at taking a one-time, and the reason why we're in front of the council, council is the only one who can authorize us to do that, to take out of what are called the Prop A reserves. There is roughly $274 million in those reserves that St. Louis County holds, not me, we do not have that money. And the thought was, if we took a one-time downstroke of that money, there still would be financial capacity for future expansion of the system. We see this as an extraordinary measure associated with the economics we're faced with right now. And also at a time when we have a downturn in the economy, which I think is evident, it's even more important that we put transit service out. Because I would remind everybody that who rides our system? The folks who ride our system don't make a lot of money, but they're all working. Nearly 82% of our ridership are folks who are going to work. And of those folks, nearly 74% of them report making income of under $60,000. So that tells you that these are the very people that we need to be reaching out to when the employment market is tightening up. So I'm happy to advance that presentation at the next meeting, Chairman, if you'd like. But I definitely wanted to give you guys an idea of what this concept is. I'm going to pause and ask Tammy to correct me if I got anything wrong on those numbers.
The only thing is, I think there's 264 in the reserves. 264 million, that's it.
254,
264.
Okay.
That's the last number I heard, and I don't think any more money was put into the fund, but there was probably interest.
Put the difference in that.
My apologies. I got a lot of numbers in my head, so that's why. So Tammy, thank you for that clarification.
Thank you. Okay. We under a time restraint, I believe. Can we on Ride Every Route the numbers for the last service change and at least for the fare increase? Can we carry those over to maybe the next meeting if that's not?
Sure.
Accepted. That way, because we are under a time restraint, I believe.
It's your pleasure, Chairman, and Ron kind of gave an update on his Ride Every Route.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and we can, and the route changes for September. We're not changing fare yet.
Right.
Are we gonna say that? Yeah.
Yeah, we can just carry those over because we do have sometime we have to get out of here.
Yes, sir. It's your committee, Chairman. Let me know what you want.
There any update on that?
Yep. So we are again, as I appeared here last month, we have 11 platforms that have all of the infrastructure installed and are operating in an interim operational mode, which is going well. We're seeing a significant number of, or a significant decrease in overall incidents at those locations. as well as an impactful percentage of ridership increase at those locations. The remaining 28 platforms, to include the new platform at a Mid-America Airport, connecting the Red Line from Mid-America Airport to Lambert Airport. All 28 of those platforms are currently under construction, and we are working to complete all of the infrastructure install by the end of January of 2026. As the testing on the fare collection system begins, the 11 platforms that are already done provide a very fertile testing ground for the new fare collection system. And we will be able then to relocate security elements to other platforms with infrastructure in place to open those. And so I'm excited about where we are. We are working through at least one easement agreement downtown at Convention Center, but everything else has been worked out and is well underway. The gates themselves, the fencing products are all arriving here in St. Louis and will be installed shortly. So that's really what I have from an infrastructure side. And then Tom Curran, my colleague here at Bi-State, is leading the fare collection side of the project. So I'll turn this over to him if he'd like to make any comments.
Sure. Thank you, Kevin. As I've talked about many times, there are three components to our fare collection program: validators, ticket vending machines, and bus fare boxes. So all of our new Metro buses, or all of our Metro buses, have new validators already on board. Those are operational and they're reading mobile tickets right now. As we get the new fare products in next year, then they'll begin reading smart cards and physical tickets as well. As I've said previously, we have the components of the Metrolink validators on site that are there at our Ewing train facility. We did a site survey of everything that Kevin's team has done so far with SPP for those 11 stations that are finished. And next week, we'll actually start installing the validators in front of the Metrolink gates, and that's going to be the validators to open the gates in the future. So that construction is supposed to start next week. We're going to start in Illinois at the Washington Park station, and then Jackie join our Kersey and do the Illinois stations first. There are 4 in Illinois, and the remainder are in the urban core here in Missouri. In total, there'll be 97 entrance gates on the system, but this is the first step, so we're excited about that. The ticket vending machines are still being produced by Indra. We talked about this before. There's a prototype TVM that we're doing testing. 2 weeks ago, we had the team from Spain that designed that machine in St. Louis to start that testing. That manufacturing will go through the rest of the year and beginning of 2026, and we'll start installing 125 new TVMs this winter. The final component is the fare boxes. The Bi-State Board of Commissioners did approve a contract with a company called GenFare at the end of September at their meeting. And so design, production, and installation of the new bus fare boxes will be throughout 2026. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I don't have anybody else have any questions on the security system and the fare boxes. I've been seeing buses with the, where they used to put the bus routes. Now it says pay your fare.
They're required.
That's right. Did they always do that? I said, yeah, but now they're just reminding them. So that's good. Thank you very much.
And Kim, I'm sorry, I just saw your message. She wants to know when the committee of whole is it been scheduled.
It has not.
Okay. Good, thank you.
Finance.
Thank you. So I'm going to give a quick update on where we are as of August. If you look in the book, you'll see the budget there, and I'm just going to talk about that a little bit to start. So for total revenue, we had about 59.5 million, and our budget was 68.8 million. So when you're looking at, what line items are we struggling with, you'll see again, as Toby mentioned, the St. Louis County sales tax is down about 10.6 million for this year. But looking at it closer, there's a lot of things that go into a budget, and we try to look at timing and when we receive those receipts can be seasonal. So some of that is impacting what you're seeing in the schedule today. So we want to keep our eye on that. We are going to continue to keep our eye on that. But this is FY26 budget. For expense, what you'll see is that we were at 58.2 million compared to a budget of 59.8 million. So we are controlling our costs. The line item where you see that we are actually over budget is in wages and benefits, the 1.1 million. And that has, there's a lot of things that factor into that related to our benefits, our medical. So we are seeing some increases there, but overall we are coming in under budget. I would say this early in the year, a lot of that is timing related. That leaves us with a net income of 1.3 million right now. But we, as we progress through the year, we see changes in that. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about that.
Now he's exposing a 5.
So Tammy, is it a $10.6 million deficit or a $7 million deficit?
So the $7 million is related to the FY 2025 budget. So that's already done and over with. So this is the current year, the FY 26 budget. And so I wouldn't really count on that 10.6 million as the deficit for the current year. That will change with time. We definitely see fluctuations in sales tax there. And as I was mentioning, sometimes that has to do with how we budget our numbers too. What we're really concerned about is what comes in and what our collections are. But that's where we are right now.
Okay. Any other questions? Number 2, your presentation to the county council basically covered this, and you also covered some of it in your presentation when we asked about your proposal. Can you take this and also include this item number 2 in your presentation next month with us?
Do you mean the historic view of the?
Historic view, yes.
Yes, I certainly can. I do want to note that in the sales tax report, in the big book we send you every time, right? It's in there every single month.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's on page 10 and it does have that analysis. Obviously, the key piece are the percentages. And so we can certainly show the committee that. And so we'll highlight it.
Appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you. Number 3.
So you want me to, the discussion of the budget presentation, including, so we talked about that. I think we're covered there, Mr. James.
You're covered in.
Yeah.
If you have any additional questions, what we can do, we can ask and make sure we include it in the next month presentation.
Happy to do that. And then you mentioned communication with the commission regarding 2026 budget revision. We do not have a budget revision. The separate request is essentially a pilot program that is above and beyond our normal budget. Okay, so the council asked us specifically to keep it separated. So it is a service enhancement pilot, which obviously we are trying to do, and we would not enter that into the budget until the conclusion of the 30-month pilot. Then the county would have a decision to make. How much service do they want to keep online? The hope is that we will have better return in the percentage. Look, sales tax does not stay flat typically for that many months.
Maybe I got it wrong.
And so I want to be sure that we are seeing a sunset to that pilot in a reasonable amount of time. So just to add some clarity there. And of course, when we do the presentation, so it's a little, it'll be helpful, but essentially we are not revising our 2026 budget. We're doing a pilot above it.
Something on there that said
I guess our concern as a commission is that we know numbers that we present, and I know some of it's outside your realm, but we don't get any update on those numbers. We just find out after fact that certain things have been changed. And I guess that's what this number 6 is, number 4 is. How can we make sure that we stay in the loop of every time? Even we got same questions for the council also. We need to stay in the loop on some of these things because one, it may not affect us this year, but it would affect how we look at your budget coming to us next year.
Sure.
And we're not in the loop on a lot of things, so, if you can do what you can, I mean, it's out of your realm on a lot of cases, especially the distribution, but whatever you can present us that would help us as a commission to have a better look of your numbers and everything, it'd be helpful for us.
I'll be happy to. So the one thing that I would mention is, although I was not at last month's meeting, I did see it, and I know that Tammy mentioned the shortfall of $7 million, and we don't control that, Mr. James. I mean, just that's
Right.
how it goes. So immediately, that is an FY 25 number. That means we've already spent that money, okay? It has got to come, no matter what. And so I moved very quickly. I had a consulted with the county executive because I always check with his office first, and then went out to the council and we included it in, we had already scheduled a quarterly update for the council for that September the 16th meeting. So it just was timing. There absolutely is no, look, we're going to be as transparent as we possibly can. Most of these very complex numbers are embedded in the report you see. It is our job to bring them to the surface and help you with them. So we'll try to look at that and do a little bit better job.
Okay, and like the $7 million, we understand now what it is.
Yeah.
We also have to understand where it's coming from, even though we cannot control that, where it's coming from. We know that basically everything that we put in Prop A is for one thing, and now all of a sudden something's going to affect that. So those type of communications would be very helpful to us, even though we can't control it, but we like to know about it.
In the report, and it is good. So if in the two fundamental facts that I just want to remind everyone, Prop A can only be used for transit, right? So that language is quite specific. Even the Prop A reserve is specific about using it for transit expense. The 74 tax is a little bit more gray, and let's say, and obviously I know the council's concentration on the percentage not going to bi-state then goes to roads infrastructure, but it can only go in capital. Okay, let me note that it can only be on the capital side of the budget. It's very important that we understand that. And we try to stay away from the county's policy decisions associated with that, try to be the best advisor that we can to put out as much transit service as possible. But we'll try to bring those two elements to the top when we.
I think that would be helpful because a lot of us are somewhat new. And some of the history that you know and talk about, it's not going over our heads, but it's sitting on top.
Yeah.
And it's not going anywhere, if you understand what I'm saying. And those are the types of things, just like the presentation you made and the explanation you just made right now. It's very helpful for us to understand numbers, where they're coming from, of what they affect and how are we affected in the county. So I appreciate your effort on that.
Thank you, Mr. James. And let me tell you, I've been doing this for a while. It flies over my head many times. But we'll do a better job and try to bring that policy decision to the surface.
Yeah, I mean, even though we know we can't do anything, we like to be aware of it.
You got it.
Kim asked a question, Talby, how will service be impacted if you do not receive the 7 million?
So we will have to find that money somewhere. If the county were not to give us, the appropriation that has already been spent, I have a fiduciary relationship with all of my funders, including the city and including St. Clair County. I have to get that money. It's already spent. How the county elects to do it is obviously there's a resource in Prop A reserves to get it, or the county could come up with another conduit to find the 7 million, but we have legislation passed that we're short on right now.
Okay. Like any updates you can bring us next month on that, because I think that was one of the burning questions on how would it affect service if not? So appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. What time we gotta get out? 5? Well, what we can do, we can, look at number 5 and maybe carry that over, because I think that number 5 also include that last question that Izzy got from one of the commissioners
Okay.
on the service, if not. And I think we can carry that over, because then you would have a better understanding of if you get it, if you don't get it. And you can pass it on to us.
You got it.
Okay, thank you for that. Communications meeting, marketing,
Yes, sir. How are you?
fine.
Good. All this wonderful stuff that's going on in transit, it's our job to get that out as far as public affairs goes. So Mr. Forth already alluded to some of the things that my team's been doing with regard to hiring.
Mhm.
Then simultaneously, we're pushing information out about that amazing project that Mr. Scott's team is doing with the secure platform plan. But this week, and I'll share this with you, we're gonna go ahead and start to put out information about Mr. Curran's project with regard to the fair updates. So lots of things going on.
See that, I like to, might see a rider along with that.
Lots of things going on there, and then we're gonna continue to do our connects, our community connects and our commuter connects. In fact, this month we have a big one coming up at Mercy, Big Mercy, so we're very excited about that.
In marketing, I guess it was maybe a month or so ago, one of the news channels had a ride along, it ride every route from another city. Just when I think you were starting yours, maybe we can get one of the news channels to do that. Because I think it was very informative, because it hit every area that you mentioned in your ride every route. So that's one way of getting it out to the public.
I love that. We actually have a reporter that's now dedicated at one of the news channels that just does transit. So we're working with her very closely to do things just like that.
Appreciate it. Okay. Any other questions of marketing? Okay, hearing none. I think everyone should have a schedule of the 25-26 meeting dates. Now we can make sure that you get a copy. If there's no other business before this commission, the next meeting will be November the 10th, 4 o'clock. Most likely will be virtual. And that most likely will be virtual. And at this time, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, move properly second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any oppositions? If not, meeting's adjourned. That was a very